All right, you maggots, listen up. Here's a story that I'm going to tell just because I can. Let's call it Peter the Eight Ball. All right, that's Peter the Eight Ball. Now, in the frame is a Radio Shack DX radio, long distance radio, very sensitive radio. This is the exact model. It looks exactly the same as the one I had, but this one doesn't have the ceramic filter in 455 filter. This is one of the early models, but I had one of these, and it has a line cord. And here's the situation: the Yankees won the pennant. They're going to be in the World Series, and a lot of the guys wanted to listen to the game. But we worked in a computer repair company, TRW, in Fairfield, New Jersey. Now, when you got away from New York City up into Fairfield, there were several mountains around that you had to go over. And AM did work pretty good in the car, outside the building, but in the building, it's a computer company, computer repair. So at any one time, you had over 100 computers on, and they were open. They were test beds, so there was no shielding. So there were parts of the company that they were total dead zones. You could not get AM. So the Yankees are going to be on. I don't know if it was WABC 77. That's what this is actually set for. I don't know what frequency it was on, but I put one of these radios at the front window, and I got WABC perfect all day long. I kept checking it. So now I know I can get AM, the frequency that's going to have the baseball game, perfectly clear. It doesn't get messed up at all. But that's the front of the building. So now I went home and I had a Radio Shack wireless microphone, which is FM, and I wired in a patch cord, and I wired up a speaker so I could tune it. Well, anyway, the way the unit worked, this plugged in at the front window. There was a ledge there along the window. There was an outlet. I plugged the radio in. I knew the day before I got perfect reception. And then I plugged the microphone in, and I was able to transmit from the radio, this type radio, into the microphone. I bypassed the mic, and I transmitted the signal as FM over to the office radio on an FM on the end of the band, FM, and it worked. And we were able to get the game throughout the building on the PA system. All right, so now we have a way to get the game to everybody. The Yankees hadn't won in a while. It was really a big thing. We had a lot of guys betting money on it. We had different pools. Everybody in the building was into the game. So I've created a way to get the game from the front window to the PA system. Now, at the same time, when we were in the back by our area, we could pick up the wireless microphone on our FM radios, the guys in the front, my guys that worked in my section. So we had two options. If the girl did a page, like she'd do a page, Bill Toll, line 1, or Jerry Hunt, line 2, and then sometimes she would put the volume back down, and then we'd lose the game. So our guys around me knew that my transmitter was able to transmit a good 50 feet up to our radios. So it worked all day long. Either we got the same audio through the PA system or off our radios. So the next morning, I'm up at the front, and someone asked me what the radio was in the front window and the microphone and all that, what was it? And I started explaining it to him. And Peter the idiot, or Peter the moron, or Peter the eight ball, whatever you want to call him, he was one of those guys that when he walked, he kept his back real straight. Well, anyway, he had a funny walk. And I'm explaining to the guy that I pick up the AM, a clear AM station, the game. I convert it to FM. I transmit it to the front office. I also transmit it back to us guys in our back about 50 feet away. And this guy, Peter the eight ball, interrupts. Oh, the baseball game is on FM. I said, no, it's not. it's got an exclusive right on this one AM station. And he's arguing with me. Now I always tell you, when you argue with an idiot, who's really the idiot? But Peter the moron, Peter the idiot, Peter the eight ball, he's standing there arguing with me. So finally he goes back to his bench thing, and he's tuning the radio. So see, I had it on. Had it, and I went back and I pulled up the patch cord out. I picked the microphone up in my hand, and I called him Peter the moron. And I hear other people laughing. They got what because they were listening to part of the conversation. So anyway, he goes back and he's like, well, I didn't understand. I said, the baseball game is not on FM. Back in those days, I don't know what they do these days, but there was a case of everybody wanted to listen to the baseball game, and it took me to get it done. And I didn't use just any AM radio. I used this thing up at the front window, and I tested it the day before to make sure every time I turned that radio on, there would be no buzzing or beeping noises from all the computers. You could not believe how much interference, 100 computers or more apart, no shielding. We had printers, we had modems. You cannot believe how messed up the AM broadcast band would be. Now, one of the guys would listen to Howard Stern, who was on AM originally, and he found a sweet spot in our area, and he would move the radio around, get it in that sweet spot in the afternoon. Howard come on for the was it the drive in the morning or whatever? Anyway, he'd find the sweet spot, but we had to turn certain equipment off in our area in order to get enough signal to be able to listen to Howard. But there's a case of you're standing there, someone asks you, what's that radio at the front window? Why is there a transmitter next to it? Now I'm explaining it, and this guy interrupts me to tell that the baseball game is on FM. It turned out to be my station that I was transmitting. And that was the whole idea. I don't know if he didn't get the memo or what, but that's the stuff I go through in my lifetime. I have a certain way of doing things. And other people, they don't get it. They just don't get it. And, you stand there and you argue with them. I'm the idiot for arguing with the guy. I really am, And the guy turned out to be a real flake. I used to go in restaurants, and he would grab handfuls of ketchup packets and make tomato soup with it. And then he'd go into the woods and find trees and stuff and put them around his house. He wouldn't buy a bush or anything. He recycle what, I guess, when people would dump dirt in the woods, there would be some flowers and stuff, and he'd dig them up and replant them on his house. He was a flake, But anyway, I just want to tell you that quick story. See, think about me. I'm like a guy saying, it's too bad we can't get the game in here. A couple of guys are sitting together. They were all techs. They all went to tech school. Most of the time, they went to better schools than I did. They went to RCA anyway, I went to Retz, and Retz was the bottom. And these other guys, they went to DeVry or they went to RCA, and there I am. Well, how would you do it? Okay, first of all, you got to pick up the game. The game is on AM. It's on a certain station. Let's put the best AM radio in the building as far away from all the electronic noise as we can. And it turned out to be, I had one of these, and that's what I used. And I had an outlet it was this front window in the foyer, they called it. And I used to sit there and get sunshine through the window. So at the window, the signal could come through the glass unimpeded versus the brick wall or aluminum siding, whatever the building had. It was a steel building. So if all the computers were off, you almost got no signal inside the building. But up by the front window, great signal, great radio. Now all we got to do is convert it to a frequency that goes through the inside of the building, which was that FM. It was an FM wireless microphone, a Radio Shack unit, and I just wired in some resistors so I could take the output of the radio, which would be 8 ohms, or on the earphone jack, into the patch, and then it would convert it down to a lower voltage equal to the microphone. And if I undid the jack on the wireless microphone, the microphone would kick back in, and I could call Peter a moron, or Peter the idiot, or Peter the eight ball. And that's what I did. And he couldn't believe it. He's like, I showing him, there's the radio. I'm showing him the transmitter. And he's insistent, no, they transmit the game on FM. I think that's it. All right, that's about it.